I think it's very important to talk about just a couple of things here. And I'll let everybody get here before I get to my thoughts here. I'll say hi to everybody that I can. Um, let's see. Aaron, good evening, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XRP Meteor along with Defined Group. Crypto Plumber 589, thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. And I know it's the first month because that's my face superimposed on that badge. I thank you guys for being in here. The Gatmen, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 years with the XRP Diamond Hands badge. Unbelievably awesome. 1970 Legend, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor. Along with Papa Wheelie, Crypto Cooter, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XRP Meteor, along with Frankie Fresh. Good evening to you both. UK Phil, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. We'll get another game of Fortnite when we get past this Star Wars season that's so trash. Wales, Josie Wales, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Jorge says, hello, people. Hello, Tom. Everyone, hit that like button and subscribe to Tom's channel for the best technical analysis on YouTube. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for 6+ months with the XP Predictor, along with Sir Smokes a Lot. And also, Jorge, thank you for being in Tom's Army and also being a very trusted mod. I wish I could make the people that are in Tom's the mods automatically in Tom's Army, but YouTube won't let me do that. So it's good suggestions. I wish I could do it, but I can't. Nick, welcome in, my friend. I'm glad to see you in a live. So awesome to see you in a live. You do a lot of work in the Telegram to try to help people out on the charts. Very appreciative of that. Joseph Euler, welcome in. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. Mark Hassan, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year at the I Told You So badge. Mark Powell, Matthew Ramelli, welcome in. Welcome in from Virginia, it looks like. I think for Mark Powell. Hamza agrees. Let's see. Wales, Josie Wales, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year at the I Told You So badge. Great to see you in here. AK Your Fade, thanks for being in here and also being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. John Hall, good evening. Says, hey, brother, good evening. Hashtag XRP, thank you. You are welcome, my friend. Humanity wins. You rock. Technical analysis is great. I appreciate that. And good evening to you, friend. Big Dog, welcome in along with Alec. Thank you both for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge and me being abducted by aliens. I love it. Love it. Trading with J-Ride, welcome in. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 years with the XRP Diamond Hands badge. Sniffing that 4-year XRP Phoenix badge. You're just there. You're basically there. So, a couple of things. One, yesterday, remember how I said, don't define me based on the fact that we thought that drop was coming and it happened, but define me based on what I do next. And remember I had the short on Bitcoin that I sold at 101,280 because I said there was going to be the back test at worst. Even if it's going to continue down, we were going to have the back test. So my buy was 104,008 something, and I sold it at 101,200 and some change. And I said, don't judge me on the move last night in the live based on the good decision I made buying it. You know, judge me based on the move I'm about to make. And I said, it's going to go back up and it's going to back test at worst. Even if it's going to correct, we'll know because it's going to come through this formation and break out. But if it was going to go down, I said at worst, you'd be able to rebuy that short at the same spot you bought it and then ride it back down if that was the case. Now, we could get a miraculous bounce up. That's why it's hard to just reopen a position. You want to see some confirmation. But this would be the back test, but it also creates a dilemma here because it created a V-shaped recovery. So the fact there's a V-shaped recovery there is something of intrigue to me. So we'll see if this can lead to something. But at the same time, you know, the higher functioning in my brain tells me, you know, this is great, this is clever, but you realize you're still on a topping reversal. I'm topping reversal. Pretty defined. Now, could it reverse into a W here? It absolutely could, but so far this candle kind of got cut off at the head. Like, it kind of got cut off. Like, it got decapitated when it was about to make some kind of run, and it turned into just a formidable back test. So, we'll see how this plays out, but that's why yesterday I said, don't go short here. Like, now everybody's going to go short because they see it was a good move down. But now all those people that were going short are going to get liquidated because now you have the back test. It's just like when something goes up, like with the miners. I said yesterday, you know, it's doing great, but now we're going to have the back test. because we had a big move up. So now things are inevitably back testing. And remember, we had a divergence with gold and silver. So silver diverted from gold here a little bit 2 days in a row. So now you start to see the correction. This is kind of where they start chopping out the new people, and it allows them to gain liquidity. Now, when I get done with my little spew here, we're going to go into crypto, and we're going to talk about the fact that I think something more sinister is at play here. It's the same thing that's rubbed me the wrong way since before the drop yesterday. Now we've obviously had the rebound. We're not at the drop point from yesterday, but we're at where it all broke down finally. You know, we're at the point where it finally broke down, all ends met, and then we had that nice correction down. But I think we're in a very different spot here, because I think what's happening is the market makers, the elites, the one in control, they're trying to nickel and dime retail out for an ulterior motive here. They know in the stock market, if we get hammered with the US dollar devaluing, simultaneously crypto gets annihilated, they're going to be more likely to do rate cuts. And what they're going to say is the U.S. consumer is getting hammered. Even their investment strategies aren't working out. There's no safe avenues, not even bonds, mutual fund, nothing. Even though that's not true, because in a mutual fund you can get the monthly. But you would have to know with the right ones, because if you just buy a straight U.S. stock mutual fund that's built with U.S. stocks, you're going to get hurt. That's why the emerging markets is a good bet right now with the U.S. dollar devaluing. By virtue, the emerging markets are going to go up, because more of the collateral is going to end up over there. But anyhow, I think it's a more sinister plot here by the elites, and that's why I put in the title, XRP, this is trickier than you think. Retail set to be liquidated. And then I simply put XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, crypto, beware. And I put the roller coaster up followed by 2 bears. Because I feel like we're getting into trap zone, and then everybody sees this V-shaped recovery, and hopefully it works out. And this isn't an M-topping reversal, but if it is, we're looking at a guaranteed 14.3% drop on Bitcoin still. That's $14,300, which means Bitcoin's going to be valued somewhere around 90K on average. That means XRP at minimum is going to come down to like $1.94 to $1.98, but I still think that $1.50 gap was left for a reason, for ones like us who can read between the lines and say, I understand we went down to $1.62, but cut the shit. We know there's a fair value gap. We know we can't continue on without filling that in most scenarios. And I just think it's kind of like they leave breadcrumbs for you so that you can see, hey, maybe even in an unbelievable stroke of bad luck, it bounces down and fills the gap at 91, but that's somewhere in another stratosphere, because if we broke down $1.32, fine. Then we can start talking about that range. But for the here and now, that $1.50 remains a very big decisive factor for me of why I think we can pull back down. And, you know, it's bothered me ever since December. Actually, it's bothered me since, let's see the exact date, when it decided to come down here. And I've shown it so many times. April 25th, down to $1.61.6. But look why it's such a kick in the nuts. Because with how far it fell, and before I tell you that, good evening, 6:39 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Friday, June 6th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. Don't shortchange me. Hit that like button. We're being assassinated by YouTube here, so I need you to hit the like button. The content's hard to get out there, and if you don't hit the like button, it's sure as hell not going to get out there. So you need to work harder and stronger and more lively and hit the like button. Make it part of your routine, almost as if when you get up, you do whatever you do. When you come in here, hit the like button so YouTube will push this on, because they're really suppressing it, and it sucks. But, we do the best we can. So with your support, it'll make it easier. With that being said, the reason why this was a kick in the nuts is because XRP had come down 51.7% from the top. Now, or more than that, if it just came down, here, what was it, 161.6, let's get this, close enough. It came down 52.6%, how about that? Well, if you just take it from there to $1.50, it's another 9% in normal terms. But because of how far we've dropped from the top, all it had to do was drop another 3%. Another 3%, and we could have filled this gap. Would you have cared if it dropped to 162 or 150? I don't think so. But now what we've done is we've left ourselves in no man's land aficionado. Like this is the bout de gras here. This is the coup de gras, we could say. Because, or the coup de gras. Because now we're in no man's land. Are we getting rejected here? Are we breaking above? Are we going to hold 215.5? Is this going to be the rejection? Is this going to be the springboard? We do have this minor V-shaped recovery, but it kind of fell short, which when they look like a V here, but they end up stopping before it even breaks this old level, that's kind of odd. That's a red flag. Does anybody know what I'm talking about, or do I sound like an asshole? Exactly, Nick. That's the one I didn't want to talk about. That's why I said I won't even entertain the 91-cent one. But why stop at 62 cents? You know as well as I do there's one down around 3 cents. But I don't really want to go down there and talk about it. You know. Richard, I have no idea. You're not blocked on the Telegram anymore, so I have no idea. I can't tell you it enough times. The 7 ways from Sunday. I have no fucking idea. Try sending me a message on Telegram and just the wild chat. Or send me your actual name on Telegram. Because I've tried searching for you and I can't find you. But I took you off the block list. So, I don't know. Tom, I've been following you for over a year. Oh. Yeah, see what I do to this? Huh? Nothing important. So let's see. Oliver Marks, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XRP Meteor. Let's see. Did I miss anybody else? Frankie Fresh, exactly. Yes. But this little V-shaped recovery, it almost looks like this was just the back test of the breakdown. The way it came down, $2.18.5. And the fact it hit right there, like the resistance right now, this could be a problem. Unless we can hold the support, even if it comes down here, now we have the ability. Now, don't worry about the uptrend. We could even come down to 214.6. It's fine. But this just, the way it broke here doesn't seem to be in a good spot here. Ooh, the groundhog? Yeah. Oh, it's much easier to see now that I did that work. But let's see. Opened along on XRP at 208. Was going to take money back in closed position, but reopened a trigger long for 203 and 167 in case drops to keep from liquidation. Started out as a quick morning scalp. Well, just pay attention because if it comes down there, it's not stopping at $1.67. I'm just telling you straight up. If it comes down, it's going to $1.50 if it breaks a key level. And I would say that line in the sand would probably be $1.82. If it breaks that, I don't see any way it's going to come and stay above $1.50. I'm just being straight up with you. I think this is a trap to liquidate retail. And if I'm wrong, I hope I'm wrong. For your sake now, I hope I am wrong. I don't want nobody getting liquidated. But this could bounce up. This could be a small flag forming. You never know. It's come back above the resistance. Looks like a little bull flag, maybe. But I mean, we're going into a thinly traded weekend. Be careful is all I'm saying. But we'll see how the day ends. There's still an hour and 16 minutes. You know. Yeah. It's going to be interesting. That's going to be an interesting play. If we bounce up and you get some more of that topside liquidity, we technically could come all the way up to like 229. But it's going to be tough. Even in a bearish situation, we could come to 229. So in that regard, even 224 I could see. It's just tough because it stopped right there. Now it could continue up because we could ride the 20-day. We're just below it. That's why I want you to be cautious. You got to be riding the 20-day in the 30-minute time frame. And now we have an engulfing, it looks like, to the downside. It filled that entire candle up. The only thing it hasn't made is a new low, which is good. But if it starts making this new low, and you promised me one thing, if it breaks that 215.7, you're on alert. If it breaks 214, you might as well act like you're about to abandon ship, because if that happens, even if you get some kind of profound double bottom, that brings you back to 205. And are you really going to want to sit there and be like, are we about to jump off a cliff here? But for now, you're fine. For now, you're fine. In all honesty, you know, you're not in no man. Well, you're in no man's land, but not in your position because you opened it at a good time. Let's see. Come on, Tom, get it. I know. I've been so wrong lately. Like that Bitcoin short yesterday that made $1,300. That was so wrong. And then to sell it and tell everybody exactly where it was going to go back to retest and why you would need to close the short right now. That was so wrong. I mean, sometimes I wonder if that's wrong. I love being wrong. Oh, I love it sometimes. Anyhow, I guess saying invite expired. This blows. I guess unsubscribe and try again. I don't know. I don't know why it says invite expired. I've created it. Trying to think of what else I could do. That sucks though because I've seen this before. I wish I could. I need you to send me a message on Telegram and a private instant message so that I can see your name because every time I search for you, I can't find you. So if you could somehow send me a message on Telegram, not in the Tom's Army Telegram. I'm talking about just on Telegram, just looking for XRP Future Millionaire. You know how my name is spelled. And finding me on there, then you could act. That's why I said send me your name so that I can try to search it exactly like it's spelled. Maybe try and PC or phone. Yeah, it's so dumb sometimes though. No way, Josie says ZBAC is my retirement plan. Thanks, Tom. Oh, let's see where we're at. This is what I want to show everybody. See what data did? Data seems to be out ahead. You see how data stopped here? See how it had this V-shaped recovery, but it stopped just short of where it broke down? Like you would want it to come up here where that breakdown, it came down, but where it actually broke down on the rejection was here. So you'd want to see it come and surpass and hold 144. I told everybody earlier that data, like, that's great what it was doing, but don't trust that. Like, don't trust any of this. This is probably the outlier here. We broke down this rising channel, bear flag. It's not done yet. Like, if this is how it's breaking it down, it's not done. Like, there's nothing we can do about this. And you want to look for the outliers that get out ahead first and then start pulling back because then you can start seeing. ZBAC up 17.5%, a fantastic W reversal. So if you're looking for an entry, I'll tell you straight up. If you're looking for an entry, you look at the back test of this neckline now that's going to form. Can't go that far. Probably, I don't want to go too far because we can go here like right to the tip. I would say if it gets a little bit of a volatile spike and we come up and finish this, maybe it comes down here and back test on a volatile swing. Because that's what you'd be looking at. You're going to want to back test this breakout. You know, as it goes on in time, it's probably going to end up somewhere around June, the end of the weekend. That's what I would be looking at in the short term. But that still looks like, we have to make sure that this is a bona fide breakout. Because this could be an early outlier as well. Think about it. Isn't this front running the market? So if the market is putting a fake out here, this could be a way to see it. And this could also be a way for future if you're looking at MXC, which is up 17.7%, to see maybe something wider is going on here too with that big W. So I don't know. These ones could very well run again. So we'll pay attention. And we'll pay attention to the rest of the market because which way is it going? Is all the liquidity being sucked up into a couple of free runners that have already been hindered for so long? And is something like data, what it's doing, is this an outlier? Because that's a bear flag that's set up again after the rise up. And if that falls out, we're going to be hooking up at the Mendoza line at that 1 cent level and be like, uh-oh, we're only 20% away from that 008 like we're waiting for. It's a good thing. But that's why I want to see. Does Bitcoin follow suit? Do all of these follow suit? So it's a very, very tricky situation because I believe they're hunting liquidity right now. I really think the market makers, I think the ones who are controlling this, I really think that they are hunting liquidity. So if you're a fan of mine and it's still going through a little bit of beta testing because they got to fix, especially the thing at the top left where XRP Future Millionaire is not even spelled the way I want it. But if you're interested, go to the website. It's free. You can go on the chart here. You don't even have to go to trading view or anything. You can just go into the top left. I made this an API so you can do it in real time, and you can search whatever you want. But if you look for XRP, it's got everything with XRP. You got all a bunch of different things. And then you can just go in here and you can see the chart, like the futures charts right here. So you can see it in the futures terms on Coinbase or any one that you want. You can just go into XRP, I don't know what, the US dollar, and you can look at a chart. It's up 24/7. It updates in real time. You can go to any chart you want. It doesn't just have to be big. It can be anything. Oh, you can go into the stock market and say, hey, we want to look at B2 gold. And you can go there and look at that chart in real time. So that's something that I think will be cool. If anything ever happens on YouTube and they ever decide to ban me, go to xrpfuturemillionaire.com. Make sure that you're following my website at least, because I can put real-time updates. In a few days, I'll be able to go live on here if I choose to. I have different blockchains that I really like that are right at the top. Obviously, Bitcoin and Ethereum, because they're part of this whole thing. But you can see some of the ones that I really like. And then you can start to look more into the information. Like, hey, I don't know what Filecoin is, right? Let's take a look at Filecoin. And it'll click up. And you'll be able to open it. Well, at least go into the real-time updating. But you get what I'm saying. So you'll be able to go through here. You can see all the stuff below. I just thought it was a good way. It'll have all my new YouTube videos up. As well, there's some stuff about me on there as well. But it's still in the beta testing. So that's something that I think if you got acclimated with, it'd be pretty cool. And it's just another way to keep us together in case something happens. Because I know a lot of people are getting banned. So let's see. I didn't know anything last year. Now, after time and patience, I finally think I'm really actually getting it. Tom knows this shit just takes a while to pick it up. Absolutely, Crypto Cooter. And that's how it's supposed to be. That's why I like to put out all the content free. And I like to be here every day. Because if you watch it day after day and you start to see the things, now you know right now. You know right now, okay, well, maybe we can break out here. And maybe we got some outliers here. But we've got to make sure this isn't a small bear flag that formed. We have to make sure we're not getting rejected here. And we have to make sure that we're not breaking down already. And if we can get over this breakdown area, maybe we can simplify this. And maybe, just maybe, and it would be a just maybe kind of scenario. But it would be big if this happened. Maybe, and it's not often this happens, but sometimes it does. Maybe, instead of being a shoulder, it actually came up and formed a big W here. And then it ends up bouncing out. And then it ends up being like, holy shit, it actually swung around. So you never know. You never know. It's not all over yet. We're just that. But at the same time, we have to look at it logically and say, well, because we dropped out, now instead of hitting it from a line of support, we're hitting it from an area of resistance. And until we correct this and get to the top side of this breakdown up here and start using 106,000 as support, we have to look at it from a bearish stance instead of a bullish stance with the optic that it could go either way, because it really could. So that's why I say it's tricky. Probably Dennis, only because it's going to have to back test that breakout on ZBEX. So I would imagine it's not going to run unabated all the way out here. At some point, it's going to have to back test the breakout. Now, I could see it coming up a little farther before it pulls back for sure. Big W reversal. I actually seen this earlier and I forgot because I've been doing a lot of work. I'm almost mad at myself because earlier today I seen it when it was starting to form this W. It was this morning when I was at the gym. I'm like, ooh, I should buy this. And I completely forgot because I did a lot of gardening and stuff today too. My mom was here and sure shit, it popped, another 15%. I'd seen it forming this morning. I'm like, oh man, look at that. I'm disappointed because I have all that money set up on BITUNIX for an occasion just like this and I fucked it up. So now I don't know. I'll be watching just like you to see if there is that opportunity. But we'll see. We shall see. Ethereum up 2.89%. And I mean, right now it's literally come up to these resistance areas. Like this is where you'd come up for a tap. See how the V stopped short? I don't know. This seems dangerous. It all seems dangerous. Almost looks like it created a head and shoulders right here. And now it's back testing a further drop in the shorter time frame. I've had this drawn out for Ethereum where I think it's going to come down and do something like that. But we'll see, because I could very easily see Ethereum come all the way down to 1,749 to mimic the left side of this pattern and then start forming it on the way back up. That's the problem here. Just like I can see Bitcoin very clearly, and it may not happen, but I can see a very clear path for Bitcoin to come down and create an inverse right. Like, I can see the path. That's the problem. Here, let's redraw it. Whether or not it's going to happen, I don't know, but we can see the path. Like, I can see the path. I think most of you can see the path. Because when it came up, now all of a sudden it's created the left shoulder, head. It's going to have to create a right shoulder to mimic this side. It's going to have to if it's an inverse head and shoulders. And then it'll come up into that 152 probably. But that still insinuates we're going to come down near 90K, maybe 89, 90, 91, somewhere in there. It says 89.6, but you can't be predictable. You know, it's going to be somewhere in that area. But that's my fear, that Bitcoin is setting up something like that. You know, and it's been setting it up, and it's so obvious that it's there, but even if we don't want to acknowledge it, it's still there. Like, do-do-do-do-do. And then it's like, oh, that's too big. I'm in the daily, or the weekly. Let me go into the daily so it looks better. It'll be a better way to emphasize this, because we can see the movement. I can see we can all see the movement. And this is, and it may not happen, but this is what we have to pay attention to. Left shoulder to a perfect head. Where's the right shoulder? Still trying to be formed and then out, right? It still wants to be formed. You know, and that's what I'm fearing, is that we're in the midst of that formation. And remember when I drew this out, we hadn't even come around like this and I had it drawn out like this. Because I'm trying to see how this inverse head and shoulders gets formed after breaking out of a cup and handle and not hitting the exact target that it needs to hit. Because right now the target was 122,253 roughly. Hey, 222. So, data coin, yes, I'm bearish right now, but it very well could be a double bottom right now. But I still feel like it needs to come to 008. I've been wrong before, though. But this is just what I do to try to front run a move, and then I'm prepared. And then when it gets there, I can buy. And then if it keeps going, I can make a decision to ladder in even more, or find a bail point to rebuy a little bit lower if it forms another bearish formation. But that would be an entry point around that area for me. So we'll see what happens. I'm doing it the exact same way I did with ZBEC and MXC. I'm being very patient until I find that make it or break it moment for the move up. But like Bitcoin, I really see this possibility. It's just, if we form a W here, we can go up quick. And then it means that we don't have to backtest that in the moment, because then it's going to form something different. You know, it'll be a slightly different look here if this happens. Now, it could go up slightly and then come back down. That's true. But it would form something slightly different here if it doesn't break down. You know, and let's say it makes a new high and now it's all the way at 115. Well, that's a little bit different. Unless it's a fake out the short, you know, liquidate the shorts, which is possible. But I want to see this break up a little bit more, because this is at the most dangerous spot right now. So, but it could have created a little V shape to push on. We'll see. Never say never, especially when it's still stuck in the area. DGB was up to 0091 earlier as well, and look what happened. It just dropped it all back now. So it had this same V, failed to reach over the hump, tried to come up again, didn't reach over the drop point, and boom. And now it's back here in almost like a small bear flag, unless it decides to come back up. But we won't know until the next move. Looked like a W reversal as well, but now it looks like that's in jeopardy. So there's a lot of traps being set. And the other thing is do we always feel comfortable on the weekend, or do we usually find it to be bearish when it's not looking good going into the weekend? We've had a few weeks that it went up because it was going up into the weekend and it was just strong, or it held on the weekend. But for the most part, when we go into the weekend a little bearish, you know, on backtest, it usually doesn't bode well. But, you know, like I said, that's why we have the wait and see game. Ripple Labs is using a 300 million XRP treasury with Weebus International Ltd. to sell XRP via regulated intermediaries, possibly bypassing a federal court injunction. Beautiful news. Let's see. XRP enters danger zone before potential mega rally. XRP is giving veterans of the market a serious sense of deja vu as chart watchers point out a nearly identical setup to its 2017 cycle. Absolutely. That's what's so beautiful about this. Could this mean a final explosive move is just around the corner? It is. It's just a matter of where does it happen. It's not a matter of if. It's a matter of when. And for all intents and purposes, we could have already hit the bottom of the bottom right now. But we might not have. And that's what we're trying to figure out together daily. You know, every single day we're trying to figure this out. Exactly the point. We don't miss days. We certainly don't miss days. Whale, Josie Wales, thank you so much for the $4.99 donation. First donation of the day. I greatly appreciate it. Also in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Said, in Tom we trust. Gotta go. Wales, Josie Wales, have a good evening. Thank you so much for the support, allowing me to do what I do. Awesome. Tom, not sure if it's possible, but it would be really cool on the website if there was a place to see your drawn out charts to see main pattern formations, resistance levels, etc. I'll have to see, but I mean, it's not that it wouldn't be. I already do something like that in the Telegram, and honestly, nobody looks at it. So it's not a big drawing point. Most people want it, but when I do it, nobody looks at it. You know, but I understand what you're saying. Maybe I'll try to figure something out. Maybe, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Not a bad suggestion. XRP, so we did this in 2017. XRP spent around 210 days in consolidation before it blasted off into one of its most historic rallies. Fast forward to now, XRP has been stuck in a box for 190 days and counting. One of the analysts says that the token could be just 2 to 4 weeks away from a big jump if history repeats itself. Well, if that's the case, we're going to have a nice little 20 to 30% knockoff here in the next 10 to 20 days if we're that, or in the next 14 to 28 days if that's the case. You know. Yes, I can post a Telegram link for your dad. Let's get the Telegram link. One second, whoops. 1 second. There you go, my friend. Right in the bottom. And now just got a phone call from a stranger from Telegram. Something fishy going on. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, Richard. Honestly. I don't know why I would say muted. That sounds like, you gotta unmute it. I can't mute. You wouldn't see it muted if I did that. I can't mute you. I can ban you, but I can't just mute it. I don't know. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I'm not an expert when it comes to Telegram. In my opinion, there's a lot of flaws. So the weekly chart shows this consolidation zone with the $2.20 to $2.80 range, holding XRP in a sideways pattern for over 6 months. This structure is similar to the price coiling we saw in the last cycle before XRP took off, but some are still watching for one last shakeout before liftoff. So earlier price activity showed XRP dipping below $2.20 and hitting almost $2.07. With experts predicting a significant drop to the $1.90 to $2 range, that sweep has not happened yet. One trader said if XRP starts shooting up from here, I'd be careful. I'd be 30% careful, showing that they think one last dip in liquidity could sort things out before a real breakout. The short-term chart backs that up, showing a sharp drop followed by a steady recovery, but no clear return to previous highs right now. XRP is trading at about $2.15, stuck between hesitation and anticipation. The main point, this could just be a lull before the next big storm. If XRP follows the same path it did in 2017, a break above current consolidation could lead to the kind of move that has been missing this cycle. However, some people will not be convinced until that $1.90 zone is swept clean. I won't be convinced until that $1.50 zone is swept clean. But what do I know? You know, maybe it is only the $1.90 zone everybody's looking for. So, you know. Yeah, I don't know why it says expired link, because it's not expired. I've had this happen to other people, and they had to re-add me. Like, you know, they had to re-add my Telegram. Like, it was not, I tried everything, and then they finally figured out how to find me and do exactly what I just told you, and then they were able to add it. But this isn't the first time this has happened. So XRP structure, wave structure predicts wild fluctuations on its way to $4 all-time high. Let's see what some of these say compared to us. And if you are watching, make sure to hit that like button. Let's try to get to 100 likes. We have 83 likes, 135 people watching. And if you hit that like button, it'll share this more. More people will find our community, and it'll be less likely to shadow ban this. By you hitting the like button, I pop up in your news feed, believe it or not. That's how they do the analytics. That's how they do the algorithm. They link us. XRP wave structure predicts wild fluctuation on its way to $4 all-time high. The XRP price action is drawing significant attention as analysts highlight a distinct wave structure suggesting increased volatility ahead. It could be the ABC correction here after we just had a mini 5-wave move. We should be in the midst of an ABC corrective move right now. According to technical patterns on the XRP chart, the cryptocurrency could soon fall wild fluctuations on its potential path to retesting its all-time high and aiming for the $4 mark. XRP map, or wave map, lays out path to a new all-time high. So XRP price is currently trading at $2.13. T got quiet. After enduring a months-long downtrend that has prevented any upward movement toward revisiting all-time highs. However, despite these momentum struggles, a certified crypto Elliott wave, blah, blah, blah. The analyst shared a detailed Elliott wave chart, yada, yada, yada. For a new all-time highs it's poised for, but set for significant volatility on its way to this high price. The chart illustrates a well-defined pattern of correction and impulse wave structures that signal both short-term turbulence and long-term bullish potential. I like that. So by identifying a major correction that unfolded from XRP's high in January through a low in April, this move is labeled with a complex wave formation, especially a double zigzag WXY, showing strong symmetry across multiple degrees of wave structure. Interestingly, the analyst notes that the precision of these wave structures aligns almost perfectly with classic Fibonacci extensions levels on the way down, including the 61.8% and 100% retracements. This indicates that the corrective cycle followed a technically sound and predictable path, leading to the conclusion that the worst of the downtrend may be over and XRP could be entering a new wave sequence with bullish implications. The chart analyst also highlights a critical accumulation zone marked between 184 and 225. This range coincides with Fibonacci retracement thresholds and represents a crucial decision point in XRP's price structure. And I agree with that, because I talked about, to me, as long as it stays over like that $1.82 point, you wouldn't have to go all the way back down. But once it breaks that area, $1.84 is close enough. But once you break that area, then it's like, what's going to stop us from the $1.50? I don't think that $1.61 is going to. So let's see. Recently, XRP dipped in the zone and appears to be bouncing off it, potentially setting the stage for the next impulsive wave higher. Oh, yeah, dude. Can't help it. Based on this setup, X-Force Global forecasts an initial rally towards 320 or 80 zone, followed by a short-term. No. I don't think that's what's going to happen. The analyst shared a chart predicting the cryptocurrency could soon skyrocket to a jaw drop. I don't think that's going to happen either. Why speak the nonsense? Notably, the chart indicates 250 resistance, a 5, 10, 22, ultimately. That's ambitious. All right, so we've seen what we needed to see, but they didn't have to go off on the extreme deep end. Like, let's get the 5 first before we talk about 50. Like, can we get the 10 before we get to 50 and 20 and things like this? Like, we want to look at it in the right context. We don't want to get our hopes up. Be like, oh my God, it's going up to 50, and then it stops at 550. And we're like, I'm not selling shit. It's still got to go 10x. Well, no, it doesn't have to go 10x. We're just having too high of expectations too early. It's going to do what it needs to do. Remember, in 2024, we were at 38 cents, 50 cents. At least we're doing this here. So, yes, that's a good idea, Papa Wheelie. That's what I would do. Oh, it pisses me off too, Richard. That's why I can't keep thinking about it, because it pisses me off. Because it shouldn't be like that. Like, if it's my Telegram, how am I not having the control to do what I need to do? That's what pisses me off. Like, I'm sending you a link and it's saying that it's expired when everybody else can click on it and join it, even new people. It's bullshit. That's all the stuff that happens. That it'll drive you up a wall. The longer you're around, the more nonsense you're gonna see too. I promise. XRP is slipping below 215 or 216 now. Let's see. I wanted to see what the XRP whales were doing. I had something up and I accidentally deleted it like a dum-dum when I hit to show my website. Okay. Because I seen something earlier about a pretty big sell-off, but then when you look back at it, there's also one that says whales 1.9 billion acquisition. So there's a 900 million was bought of XRP to keep it above $2. And there's a $535 million sell-off. So you got a couple contradictions. So I wanted to see something new. You know? So I mean, this to me is the bigger noise. XRP whales shrink their bags by 535 million as market turbulence persists. But now look at the complete contradiction. 1.9 billion whale grab, 900 million XRP scooped up to defend the $2 level. Like, whales accumulated nearly 900 million XRP valued at 1.9 billion to support the rise above $2 and counteract decline. But look at this other article that was written 2 hours separate, 2 hours earlier, or later, I mean. No, this one was later. This one was 2 hours earlier. XRP whales shrink their bags by 535 million as market turbulence persists. Whales have flipped bearish, distributing 250 million coins worth 535 million in 3 days. Is that a nice way to punch you in the face? You know? I don't have a buy spot for anything right now. I don't have nothing set right now. I don't set limit buys anywhere because I like to do it in real time. I tell the areas that I think is going to be the spot that I could actually make a move, and then if I do, I say it. So no, as of right now, no. Let's see, XRP whale account suspended. Huh? Look at this, more attacks on the XRP community. I told you something's going on when it comes to XRP, like they're trying to shut us all up. That's why I got to join my website before it's too late, before I get banned on YouTube. I'm telling you, something fishy's going on when it comes to XRP. I used to go to this site a lot. Now we can't even go on the, this kind of stuff. Interesting. I was an account with 300,000, interesting. So then whales buy, whales sell, you know, so that they tell you everything, try to trick you. Let's see where the liquidity is at. So in the 1 month, I mean, we took out some of the liquidity. We're going to have to see how this builds back up. About in the 3 day, what's formed since this drop and recovery. See if there's anything that stands out. See, I could see it coming up there too and trying to retest, but I'm just afraid it's going to fall through. I mean, 229 is the pivot point, so you never know. Never know. Just it's going into the weekend, so it always makes me a little nervous. Strongest area in the last 24 hours is right up around 219. And then you got some decent areas on the way down that it could pick up as well, but it's nothing major. There's nothing major in context of what it could be. Let's see if Bitcoin has other ideas. And the monthly. You can go to the 6 month on Bitcoin, which is kind of nice. Ooh. There's a 1 billion. Oh boy. Bitcoin just, oh man. Bitcoin Just missed a $1 billion liquidation at 100,250. Talk about sweating your nuts off if you're a part of that liquidation. Whew. I don't know. That spells trouble. There's not going to be any stronger area above than that. You can get combined areas, but that's the single strongest. Look at all these. There's some strong liquidity. Man. Holy moly. That's true. James knows not to come in here when I'm doing a live when he's out in my, you know, eating the strawberries and potatoes out back. I'm thinking it's the rats and stuff that are eating my Italian parsley and my holy basil, but it was actually James eating his greens at least. But that looks like a M topping reversal there. We'll see if that V-shaped recovery can actually do something, but we'll see. I mean, it's not the prettiest. It's not the prettiest. Let's see Ethereum's liquidity levels. I mean, we want to know all of this. Ethereum came through a very tough liquidity area. It's just, it doesn't have much of a bounce back yet. It's kind of stuck. It's kind of stuck. I'll be interested to see how this weekend plays out. I really will. I'll be interested to see how the weekend plays out. We'll see if we can come back above. We got 43 minutes. To me, until it proves to us it can push bullish, just be careful. Because we definitely have entered a danger zone. There's no doubt about that. XRP on verge of W bottom reversal. Bollinger Band signal. Getting close. I mean, we're getting close. That's true. We're absolutely getting close. Damn mosquitoes coming out now. Julie bit me yesterday. I can officially say our mosquitoes are back. They were out yesterday. Although it's my own fault. I worked outside until 10:30. So I was in the dark. Ripple may be releasing XRP liquidity via backdoor claims, crypto pundit. This is something that I am intrigued about. A provocative claim by crypto research. I don't care about Dark Horse, but is quietly sidestepping a federal court injunction through a newly disclosed 300 million XRP treasury vehicle involving Asia-based mobility from Webis International Ltd. And this is cool. This new treasury set on FOMO Friday this week, I am stepping to the side and not buying nothing unless I was considering rebuying my Bitcoin short that I sold at 101,280 and made 50% on. But I just didn't pull the trigger yet because I wanted to see how the day played out. But it should have been around 104,800 if I would have did what I said. This new treasury setup allows Ripple to bypass the injunction legally and cleanly, Dark Horse declared in a post on X dated June 4th. He contends that Ripple has found the only route left by the judge by using an institutional structure that moves XRP through regulated intermediaries instead of selling it directly to investors. It's not just clever, he wrote, it's compliant by design. The setup in question was revealed in a recent Form 6K filing by Webis, which outlined the creation of an XRP treasury to be managed by Samara Alpha, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The program delegates full control of up to $300 million in XRP to Samara under a phased regulated structure. While the filing stops short of stating where the XRP will come from, Dark Horse argues the intent is clear. Ripple can legally sell XRP to an SEC-facing intermediary like Samara, which then allocates it to a corporate client like Webis, all without violating standing injunction. Ripple is enjoined from direct institutional sales without SEC clearance, Dark Horse explained. The workaround, sell to be regulated intermediaries like Samara on behalf of Webis, with treasury agreements that are SEC transparent and non-retail facing it's structured not. Haven't I said from the beginning Ripple's been selling it onto the market without it being on exchanges since the beginning? There's always been loopholes. This is what I've been talking about. Just because there's always loopholes for a reason. They're still selling to institutions. So this person's absolutely correct. That's exactly what's going on here. They're not wrong with the 6K filing. I promise you that. Promise you that much. Is Ripple bypassing the XRP injunction? Veteran XRP commentator Jay Nisbet pushed back. I just don't see any of this as a clever as this as clever or bypassing anything. It's just adoption, he replied. Nisbet asserted that Ripple and Weebus are not partners, that Weebus is simply acquiring XRP like any other participant on the second. Oh, really? Well, let me ask you guys. When was the last time you purchased XRP from an SEC registered investment advisor? I'm asking you a question. When was the last time you were able to purchase XRP through the Samara Alpha, an SEC registered investment? I've never been able to buy it through there. So I don't know what the fuck this guy's talking about, but he's full of shit as far as he talks. Like, this is bullshit what he's saying. Like, I hate when they tell you something because they think you're so stupid you're going to believe it. We're not that stupid. Now, I'm just asking, there's 112 people here. Have any of you ever been able to buy XRP as what the fuck are these people's name? As, let's see. So have any of you been able to buy this like Weebus, because I haven't, through so have you been able to buy XRP through Samara Alpha, the SEC registered investment advisor? Have you been able to buy it through it? It delegates it with 300 million XRP under a phase regulated structure. I have not been able to purchase it that way. So I think this is nonsense what Jay Nesbitt's saying. He might be a veteran XRP commentator, but his hands are just as dirty as anybody else in the media. He's full of shit. Continuing on. Weebus are not, so blah, blah, blah. Has been ruled to not be a security. In this context, he added that XRP on a balance sheet isn't the same as triggering a securities transaction. Dark Horse issued a sharp rebuttal. You're missing the mechanism, he told Nisbet, laying out this argument in 4 parts. First, he emphasized that Weebus did not just announce an intent to buy on the open market. Weebus filed via Form 6K to publicly document a 300 million XRP treasury, but not to simply buy on open markets. They delegated management to Samara Alpha, an SEC registered investment advisor under a phase-regulated structure. Second, he argued that the core issue is Ripple's inability to sell directly to institutions, which is where the intermediary comes in. This structure is about creating compliant distance, he wrote. It's not Ripple handing XRP to an investor. It's routing via an SEC registered manager who takes custody and executes under regulatory supervision. Tom, did you see Bitcoin went to 0 on Maxi? You keep using Maxi, man. You're going to mess up big time. I don't trust it. What are you talking about? I don't use Maxi. I'm not sure what you're talking about. I don't use Maxi, and I haven't used it for years. In fact, in the USA, you're not even able to. So if you're going around it, obviously. But I don't even know, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I'll be honest with you. Unless you're telling everybody else that they use it. You keep using Maxi, man. You're going to mess up big time. Yeah, I don't use Maxi, and I told the audience not to use it for years. So, welcome back. He concluded bluntly that this isn't Ripple dumping tokens. Oh, wait a minute. Finally, he challenged the notion that Weebus XRP holdings are merely passive, just holding on balance sheet is not automatic exemption, he argued. This is treasury deployment, not idle custody. The fact that Weebus structured this through a delegated SEC-facing manager says they do consider XRP institutional risk a legal factor. He concluded bluntly, this isn't Ripple dumping tokens on exchanges. It's creating institutional conduits that comply while navigating around the injunction bottleneck. Despite the detailed structure and SEC-facing components, Nisbet remained unmoved. No, I get what you're saying. I just disagree in that mechanism being an unexpected event, he wrote. It's just a natural maturation of the market and the market reacting to legalization hurdles as the market always has and will. With Ripple still bound by Judge Torres' 2024 permanent injunction, which prohibits direct institutional XRP sales unless registered, the debate hinges on whether the Weebus structure constitutes indirect circumvention or lawful evolution. The SEC has yet to comment, and the court recently denied the party's request to vacate the injunction, calling it procedurally improper. So, let's see. XRP, you okay? Oh. Let's see. But I think, that's pretty much everything I got today. I don't got much else. I wanted to make sure to get through all that. Now, when it comes to mining stocks, we had a hell of a week. Gold's had a nice correction here to end the week. And we're back testing the breakout now. We never really go through breakouts without back testing the move. So this should be 100% expected. Now, you can look at this a couple ways. Because right now, look how we back tested this to end the week. So you would absolutely expect this back test. And, you know, this is a bona fide breakout. So if this holds this back test, oh boy. You haven't seen nothing yet out of gold. If it holds this back test, you have not seen nothing yet. Because my next target's 4,115 if it holds this. If it doesn't, remember what we said when it was coming up. What does gold like to do to support itself? What makes gold feel really good and also really bad at the same time that it's not going to have the... This line always makes it happy because you get nice spikes. And we always come up to it. So... Yay, yay, uh-oh. Darn, over. Now, wouldn't we get a likely bounce here if it doesn't hold that? And then it go, yay, yeah, you know, and then it might bounce it here again up here. It's kind of like Roller Coaster Tycoon. Yeah, yeah, yay. Remember when they were riding the roller coasters back in the day when it was actually good? Like back in the early 2000s, late 90s or whatever it was. So... they are finally passing a bill to go to see if the gold is at the reserve. Oh, boy. And you know what's great about this? We'll see if they do it the proper way, because the U.S. has been buying a lot of gold, as I've been telling everybody, in the past 6 months. And the gold that we had back in the vault for hundreds of years and decades, it's just a little bit different than just buying a 10-ounce bar. So you'll be able to tell if it was restocked or if it's still the same gold in there. But it's certainly not in there in the capacity we think. So that's gold. It's doing its nice back test, as the mining stocks will be doing. Barrick Gold's trying to get out of here now. Nice V-shaped recovery. And it looks like it could start the week hot. Nice golden cross put back into place. It's running out of time. It's getting ready. B2 Gold finally broke up in a big way. Got past some major resistance. Hit the perfect resistance at 384. And that's going to be our next move. We'll have to hold 345 just to make sure if it, you know, what it needs to do. But the technical breakout move, and it's already started, unless we give it back, which I highly doubt, but we could. But the next big move is going to be up to $5. Silver down, or up 1% almost on the day. Finally broke past that $34 range. And the next big part of this move gets us to $39.55. Now, mind you, we may have to back test this all the way as low as $33.74. Try to validate that $34 area, but the next step is going to be nice. First Majestic, or Pan America Silver ended the week at $28, and we'll just say 65, and we'll ignore after hours. But it had a nice push up out of here. Nice inverted head and shoulders forming and starting to break out. Next area is going to be around $36, I believe, when it hits the resistance of this pattern. But we talked about this on the consolidation, how it was a beautiful move down near $21, and it was a perfect way to pick it up, and you're up over $7.50 a share right now from just about a week and a half ago. First Majestic up and ends the week at $8.27 roughly. It had a beautiful week. Finally broke out of this pattern, but again, if all of these are going to back test the move, I would probably just to be safe, so we don't overanalyze this, I would say probably the back test would have to be like this. So that could be $7.66. And Fortuna Silver Mines, before we get out of here, broke out, pushed out, back tested. See how it initially went up? Fortuna went up to 680, then came back down to 505, and then finally broke out at 572. Pushed up to the next resistance. We have it leveled out because this is the way the pivot layers end up. But I circle where I think it's going to come. And then it'll go farther eventually. But so that's what I mean. These are going to happen quick. Have a blessed night, everybody. Have a great evening. Thank you all so much. It makes me very happy to see everybody here. And as far as the, you know, the hecklers or the ones trying to get under my skin, that doesn't happen these days. I just go around it. So I hope you had a good night as well. But with that being said, have a blessed evening. And I'll